Hey guys, so I'm pretty excited today to bring you a review for the new Profusion Cosmetics Feel Good Skin Foundation. It is $7. You can buy it either on the Profusion Cosmetics website or you can buy it at Walmart. Unfortunately, it's at select Walmarts, which pretty means 1 out of every 5 Walmarts will get it. If you like what you see today and you want to try this, check their website and it will tell you exactly which stores have it. My store never gets anything interesting, so I had to drive quite a ways to get this, but it was so worth it, you guys. I've really been enjoying this foundation. So it is cruelty-free and vegan, as is all Profusion Cosmetics. And it comes in 12 different shades. It's $7 and it is medium to full coverage. It is a satin finish foundation. It is long lasting. And let's talk a little bit about the shade range. Even though there are only 12 shades in the range, I feel like you can get something to match you. However, you may need to buy 2 shades and mix them to get your perfect match. Right now in summer, I don't use the same shade that I would use, like say in the winter, and that's why I had to buy 2, because if it was winter, I could have gotten away with 1. Within the shade range, they have 2 fair shades, warm and cool. They have 2 light shades, warm and cool. They have 3 medium shades, neutral, warm and cool. They have 3 tan shades, neutral, warm and cool. And then they have 2 deep shades, warm and cool. So medium and tan have the biggest range to pick from. But yeah, I wasn't sure. I stood there and looked at the display, which is why I didn't want to just order from Profusion Cosmetics, because I wasn't really sure. I wanted to see it in person. So I stood there and I looked at the display and I was like, man, I'm not sure. So I got Fair 3, and number 3 is the cool toned version. So number 1 is the warm tone version. So I got Fair 3, and then I also got Light 3. Now, just looking at these, you're probably thinking, geez, they really don't look any different. But trust me, in person, they look very different. And when you swatch them, that's when it really shows the difference. So why don't I do that for you? Let's take a little bit of Fair 3. I want to be careful because this is a squeeze tube, so if you squeeze too hard, you're going to get too much. And by the way, a little goes a long way. So be very careful how much you use. It's a 1 ounce standard container. So there is Fair 3. Oh, and by the way, I feel like this does oxidize a bit. So there's that to take into consideration also when you're choosing your shade. Okay, and then I'm going to swatch Light 3 right under that. Okay, so Fair 3 and Light 3. So you can see that there is definitely a difference there. And I'll show you in the demo how I mix these and how much of each one I use to get my perfect match, because my makeup is all done right now. And through the magic of video editing, I'm going to go back in the next clip and show you how I apply it, how I mix it, and how my other face products mesh with it. So why don't we do that right now? Okay, so let's move on to the demo portion of the video. and I'm going to start with my e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer. I never have any problems using this primer with any foundation that I own, and I've made a huge hit pan. I've hit pan in it in a big way. Oh, and if you see that my eyelids are really red, it's because I've been testing out a palette that has pigments. They're pigments, they're not really eyeshadows. And so that's staining from the eye look that I did yesterday. So that video should be coming soon because I've used the palette several times, so I'll be reviewing that soon. Okay, so that's nice and blended. All right, now what I do with this foundation is I take, I have these two shades here. I have Fair 3 and Light 3. And so I'm going to start with Fair 3. And what I do is I put some on my brush. I only put that much. And then I take a tiny little bit of Light 3. I just put that right next to it. So see, I have more of the fair than I do of the light. Now, when summer is over and we're just a little further into fall and any color that I have fades, I probably will be just using the fair one because these colors run darker than they normally would in other foundation ranges. So I just mix the two together right on my skin. Now you can mix them on the back of your hand or on a palette, but I just find this the most simple way to do it. But you don't need to use much. This is super, super concentrated, and if you use too much, it's not going to look nice. So a little bit goes a long way. Okay, so with what I showed you, I just do half my face. So then we're going to do it again. And because this has hyaluronic acid in it, it feels really nice on your skin. And the container holds 1 ounce, which is pretty much the standard for foundation. So I have like, I would say 2/3 of the fair and 1/3 of the light. On the Profusion website, it says that you can use your fingers or a brush. And I know a lot of people like to use beauty blenders, and I don't think there would be any issues with using a beauty blender because even though this is a liquid foundation, it's got some thickness to it. I mean, it's not crazy thick or anything, and I am putting it over my eye area to try and tone down that staining that I have, so when I do my eye look, I can use whatever colors I want. This has SPF 15 in it, which for me is great because I can tolerate a little bit of sunscreen, but if I use anything with a sunscreen margin that is higher than 15, I get allergic reactions and my skin breaks out and gets irritated, but I can tolerate 15. So I have to pay attention to what the SPF factor is in foundations. So that's what it looks like on. Now, in terms of, actually, let's do concealer next. I'm going to use the ColourPop Pretty Fresh Concealer in Light 33C. I changed the way I do my concealer because of Robert Welsh. I don't know if you guys watch him, but he says put a little in the front corners and then blend it back. He feels like most people use way too much concealer and then it looks bad because you can't blend it all in. And I think he's right. I think even somebody like me that has these indentations on my face, if I use a lot of concealer, it just looks like, you know, big white circles. So this looks more natural, but yet it gives you some coverage. So Robert is correct on that. He's a professional makeup artist, so he knows better than the rest of us the proper way of doing things. Okay, I've used my my new e.l.f. powder, but I feel like this powder suits this foundation better. I was going to do a whole video dedicated to how different products that you use in combination with each other can make all the difference in the world. It can make you think that a product is bad if you use a certain powder over a certain foundation or a certain setting spray when you finish your makeup. Not all products play well together because there are finishing powders and there are setting powders and there's heavy powders and light powders and then with the setting sprays there's mattifying ones, there's dewy ones, so you have to be careful what you put with what, or you can take something that's absolutely stunning like this foundation is and ruin it by using the wrong powder or the wrong setting spray. So it's a lot of it is trial and error. So I would say if you buy something and you don't like it, try putting some of your other products with it, or just try a different powder or a different setting spray because it can make a huge difference. Okay, so today I'm going to use the Maybelline Fit Me Loose Finishing Powder in Fair. I feel like this powder works better with this foundation than the e.l.f. one that I just got recently. The e.l.f. one is a lovely powder, but something about it doesn't jive with this foundation, and I feel like this powder works a little better. This is just a Morphe brush from a face kit of brushes that I got one time. Forgot the name of it. So I'm just going to dust a little bit of this powder on the foundation. And I don't use any of those big powder brushes that I used to use. I've switched to a smaller one because I feel like when you use one of those big brushes that you end up using too much powder. I would rather use a smaller brush, tap off the excess, and just use a smaller amount and get more precise with my application. So I'm doing sort of like a pressing motion, almost like a stippling motion. Yeah, I think this powder, I don't know, it just suits the formula better. I like the e.l.f. powder for more of a matte finish foundation. Those work better together. But this is like a heavier powder that you kind of need when you do a satin finish foundation. It could just be my personal preference too. A lot of it has to do with your skin. You know your skin better than I do. Okay, and we might as well finish up the face products just so you can see, you know, how everything meshes together. I'm going to use the NYX Wonder Stick in the shade light/medium. And I'm just using the contour side. I just feel like this contour stick is such a nice natural contour. So I just blend in one direction up. Just blend over where I put it. Okay, for blush today, I'm going to use Maybelline Cheek Heat in Nude Burn. I did a video about these recently, and I bought 4 shades. If you want to try these, if you want to try this, I highly recommend you get the Nude Burn shade. It goes with any makeup look you want to do. I almost regret buying the other 3 shades because I reached for this one over and over again. It's just the perfect blush color. So I take a little bit out on my finger like that, and then I rub my index fingers together, and then I just go dot, 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 and then just blend it in small circular motions up and out. I feel like I got more product on that other side, so I'm going to take what's left on this finger. But it just gives you a nice subtle nude flush of color. And it doesn't do anything weird over the powder or foundation or anything. I love this. I can't believe that more people don't talk about this. I think it's wonderful. Okay, now I'm going to go in with my MAC Cosmetics Iridescent Powder in Silver Dusk. And this is a Real Techniques small fan brush. I'm just going to tap some in the cover. Pick some of that up, tap off the excess, and just go right along the top of my cheekbone. If it looks like I'm doing this a bit awkwardly, it's because I'm doing it on a computer monitor and it reverses the image. So it makes it a little bit difficult to look at this, and yeah. Okay, and lastly, I'm going to use the Maybelline City Bronzer in the shade 100. I don't think I've talked about this yet in a video. And this is such a nice bronzer for me. Number 100 is great for my skin tone. And believe it or not, what I do is I take the same brush that I used for my powder and just go in with that. And I'm just going to do the perimeter of my face. I sort of go back and forth with bronzing. Sometimes I get away from it, like in the winter and the spring, and then when summer starts to fade away for some reason, I just go back to it. Just make sure you blend it out nicely. Okay, so let's go to the outro part of the video now. Okay, so I don't think I remember to say that this has hyaluronic acid in it, and whenever I buy any makeup that has hyaluronic acid in it, I always end up falling in love with it. There's something about that ingredient, it just makes it feel so nice on the skin and moisturizing. And I don't know, it's just a great ingredient. So that's kind of important, and I did forget to mention that. But I really like this foundation, and I feel like mixing it the way I do, I get my perfect match. I don't mind buying 2 different shades of something if I'm going to get a perfect match, and I also don't mind when it's only $7 a piece, because I will have spent $14. Whereas, you know, if you're buying 2 bottles of high-end foundation, it's going to be a lot more than that. But yeah, I really like this foundation, and I am testing out a couple more Profusion products right now. And so you will be seeing another video about 2 more of their products coming up soon. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you're not already, and I will see you in the next one. Bye guys.